Good morning, everybody, and a happy Monday morning. Oh my goodness. All right, we know what happened. We're going to cover it, and it's so long. I've split it into two videos. The link to video 2 will be at the end of this video. You don't want to miss this. We knew Meghan was going to pop up with something because, after all, we just saw Catherine. And this isn't the first time she and Harry have tried to take over the news. This is something that they've done deliberately. So we're going to start with some examples of their behavior in the past, and then we're going to work into this story. Oh my God. Okay, let's just jump in and cover this, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off when Prince Charles was in Oman in 2016 on tour. His tour got overshadowed because that's when Harry decided to put out a statement saying, "Leave my girlfriend Meghan Markle alone." We all know that at Eugenie's wedding, Meghan decided that would be just the right time to tell everybody that she was pregnant. Camilla several years ago was launching the Women of the World and was giving a really important speech on domestic violence. And it was at that time that Harry and Meghan released pictures of Meghan taken at the National Theatre like a week earlier. How about when William and Catherine were in Pakistan on tour, and this is when Harry and Meghan decided to release their interviews that had been done weeks and weeks earlier when they were on tour in Africa. Harry and Meghan used Sussex Royal to announce Megxit on Catherine's or right around Catherine's birthday. Harry and Meghan taped the Oprah interview and had it released so that it coincided the exact same time that the Queen was giving her Commonwealth address. William and Catherine were going around seeing people for Mental Health Awareness Week, remember, Heads Together, and it was at this time that Harry appeared on the Dax Shepard podcast and talked about his personal pain and called our First Amendment bonkers. Harry did the James Corden bus interview, you guys remember this? And they broadcast at the same time that the Queen was giving a speech on the importance of the vaccine, for COVID. Let's not forget now, when Catherine and William came to the United States, remember they were in Boston? This is when Meghan decided to release a picture of a Zoom call with Archie's face. They also decided during that week to drop the information about the Netflix series and also the trailer for Invictus. On Princess Eugenie's birthday, Harry announced his new job at Better Up. Now, eventually, Catherine announced her book, Hold Still, that was coming out. So a few days before that, Meghan made sure that The Bench was released. On the day of the Queen's 96th birthday, Harry gave an interview to Hoda where he made some very interesting statements. Now, before the Queen's Christmas speech, this picture was put up to let everybody know it was coming. And so this is the day that Harry and Meghan decide to release a Christmas card with the pictures of their children's faces. On Catherine's birthday is when Harry decided to announce the spare. As the official mourning period for the Queen passed, this photo came out showing the new king and the heir apparent. And at this time, Harry and Meghan decided it would be a good idea to release pictures from One Young World. How about how 20 minutes before Louis's official birthday photo was released, Meghan just happened to be papped walking with Archie? So I have given you example after example through the years. It's so obvious what Harry and Meghan do. As soon as the royal family puts something out, they come out to overshadow, and that's exactly what happened here. Catherine was out for the first time since chemo. She was in Southport with William. They were meeting with the families and the first responders from the stabbings. And just as an FYI, Catherine looked absolutely gorgeous. I love her hair. And she's just such a genuine person. But we knew these pictures came out like clockwork. Something was going to happen. And then it did. This visit took place a week ago on October 2nd. And they held it until the day that they needed it. And here you go. So what happened was Meghan Markle on the 2nd went to a group called Girls Incorporated of Greater Santa Barbara. They have a new digital wellness program called Social Media U. So this is a national mentorship and leadership organization, and they're announcing a partnership with a responsible tech advocacy group, I guess is how you say it, called Half the Story, to bring this program to students nationwide. And it's being paid for by Archwell, Oprah, and Melinda Gates. I guarantee you Melinda Gates, who's like a billionaire, put in the most money, and the rest is just a little bit. So they sit down, and what's the first thing Meghan says? I was the most bullied woman in the world. It was horrible while I was pregnant. It was just terrible. And she's talking about her, she's like the perpetual victim. Oh, all this online harassment and misinformation, it's just terrible. And the first thing that pops to my mind is, why hasn't she asked the Sussex squad to stop what they're doing? Until she's willing to stand up to her own fan group, that's one of the most horrid people doing the most damage, nothing she says touches me at all. And you will never get me to believe that they just happened to release it on this day when the visit took place on the 2nd and it wasn't released until the 11th. And besides the fact that she won't address her own Sussex squad, she has made no mention of the allegations of bullying that have been made against her. So I don't understand why somebody who's now been accused of being a real bully to her staff, who can't keep her own staff, and who has a fan base that's some of the most vile people in the world, is running around playing victim. Let's not even talk about the way she's treated members of the royal family. So she's talking to a teenager about being empowered, but has once again made herself out to be the victim. This is really getting old. This reminds me of the whole I'd rather be linked, not ranked. Titles mean nothing to me. My most important thing is being a mom. But the second she was able to grab the prince and princess titles for her children, she did. Because let's be honest, that's really what she wanted. That's what she was upset about. And she even said it in the Oprah show. My child's not being titled the same as the other grands. And it's against protocol, which we found out later on was also incorrect. And she was putting out misinformation. Oh my God, you know what that reminds me of? This reminds me of when back in 2020, Harry and Meghan went on a teenager therapy podcast, which was hosted by 5 teenagers at a local California high school. And she told them that in 2019, she was the most trolled person in the entire world, male or female. This is what she's telling to teenagers, but come to find out, that was a lie. She was not the most trolled person. It's so odd. It's like she's trying to get all these kids to feel sorry for her all the time. Anyway, a study was done by online.casino.ca, which published in February of that year, and it found that she was the 3rd most trolled person, not the 1st. The site analyzed over 500,000 tweets, and while she did have a high number of tweets, she was not the top. The top most trolled person with almost all negative comments was Adele, and second was TV star Gemma Collins. Yeah. All right, you guys, that is the end of part 1. You don't want to miss part 2 because that's where the legal issues start to come in, and there are a lot. All right, so leave your comments, hit the like and the subscribe button, and then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to part 2 of this video. You don't want to miss it. Let's go.